Should we call them dungeons or courses?
That's an issue for that's an issue for future us.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, Cody here. In case you missed our first devlog, we've been working on a game for the past 3 years that unfortunately got canceled. The company we worked for went under, so now we're on a journey to find our next game project.
Okay, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, like whenever we need like a brainstorm session, it's like, hey, we need ideas for features for like Par for the Dungeon or Cat and Cat. And it's like, and everyone's professionals, so they understand. It's like, yeah, actually, like, you know, that like online multiplayer part of it is really hard to do. We can't do that.
Caitlin and I are talking about it in the concept the art direction thing, like making sure whatever game you make is like laser focused on something. That means like whoever's like, yeah, in the meeting is like the creative director of that project.
I think it could also really benefit us too if you having the split up team, because then you can go internally, show it to the other team, and then that team can be like, this could be a lot better. We entered like concept phase for 2 things. One of those things, it's looking like Par for the Dungeon has a lot of momentum behind it right now.
Team 2 is rejiggering old ideas and or coming up with some new ideas to like inspire us to be like, oh yeah, that's obviously project number 2.
Par for the Dungeon, I originally made as a game jam game. The theme for the jam was less is more. So I threw around like different ideas and stuff, and I was actually like, you know, getting more into golf at the time anyway. So golf was on my mind, and I thought, well, golf has always kind of been a less is more type of sport. You do better the less strokes you have. So I thought something to do with that would be an interesting take on the theme. But I didn't just want to make like a normal golf game. I thought combining it with like a dungeon crawler theme where I could kill some enemies as a golf ball would be a nice little twist on golf. And once I started trying it out, sketching out different ideas and getting my hands on the first playable, I thought, oh, there's really something to this. We think it could be like the perfect thing to just expand upon and see what a full game of Par for the Dungeon really looks like. Also, the other thing that really drew me to the idea, I wrote down the title first as like Par for the Dungeon. Honestly, the title is really what sold me on it. Once I came up with that little like pun of a title, I was like, oh yeah, this is the one.
Things that we got to figure out: level structure and progression, free-to-play versus premium mechanics. We can brainstorm some specifics for like kinds of equipment.
I wonder if you want to write down like dungeon mechanics. Like I think there could be a really interesting space in like course specific dungeon mechanics.
And then, you know, lastly, it's like once we have a lot of that figured out, it's like what are we gonna work on?
Yeah,
first?
absolutely.
Best time spent.
The whiteboard?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so the currency only keeps. Should we call them dungeons or courses?
That's an issue for that's an issue for future us.
Yeah, I was actually already thinking like for names of like a sequel or expansion, it'd be like Legends of the Links or something like that, or the Lost Links.
That's too much power.
Where we kind of like left off last time we were talking about this was what happens with course-to-course progression, because we were talking about just getting Par to unlock the next one, and I think there's some benefits to that, and it could be just like Par and unlock the next one, and then there's different types of like trophies or something that you get if you are able to do much better than Par. But I feel like we need some way to just acknowledge when players do really well on a course, because that's, I think, when the most bang for our buck in terms of gameplay is encouraging players to to then come back.
It's probably not going to be a ton of level work to create new courses, but yeah, I think throwing them away would just be a detriment when they're so easy to have replayability, especially with different equipment and things like that. So,
Part of me was thinking that it could be interesting to explore. There's like a certain amount of stars to unlock this level. As you go on, levels take like more and more stars to unlock. But then once you get to the next course, it requires an amount of stars where it's like you need to do better on one of them because you need an extra star. So I'll convert my whiteboard chicken scratch into some notes, some readable notes, and then we can meet up again after that. Sweet. Break.
Prior to getting my hands onto this project, Josh had done a really great job with just creating a really simple character that worked really well for, the context of the game. Moving forward, kind of bringing Par for the Dungeon up to a place where we, had more ability to put more life into it. I was working on a couple concepts for our little golf ball, and he was a lot tougher than I thought he would be just because he's a golf ball, and there's only so much you can do with a golf ball. But it was a really fun challenge, kind of trying to put the dungeon and little mini golf aspects together to make, a cute, endearing character that hopefully players really liked playing as. Like, there are a couple aspects. One is keeping to the theme of like, this is a dungeon, are you not like a knight, but like, are you an explorer? Are you an adventurer? Like, what is your role in this? And like, how can we costume him in a way that fits that, but also keep the silhouette of like, you are a golf ball without being like, okay, either the roll is gonna feel weird or like he'll clip through the floor.
Or if you had a hat and then you animated him taking off his hat and then he rolls.
It's a hat. That could be cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Well, I was wondering for
That'd
this,
be cute.
I thought it'd be cute if he had like a little cape, right? But then my thing with the cape was one, like the silhouette of like you seeing him from like almost top down.
Yeah.
But it was if he rolls independently of the cape, so like the ball rolls, but the cape doesn't like roll with him.
Yeah.
It just kind of like flutters behind him, right? And like, and if that would look odd.
what's Edna's name?
Oh, the
No
Incredibles?
capes.
No capes.
Oh, the cape and the boots.
No capes.
I honestly did not think I would have as much
Yeah.
trouble with like problem solving for this as I did yesterday, because I was like, he's in a dungeon. Okay. Because I was like, I can't just give him like a golf jacket and then put him in a dungeon and then be like, that's his costume.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like. No capes.
No capes.
no capes.
The original design, actually, I put he had a little goatee and stuff because he was supposed to be like a Robin Hood ball. He's got a bow and arrow. Because you don't want to overthink it too, because you think about like you have a small dagger, a small hat, whatever, like things protruding from the ball. Like the camera's way up here.
Yeah.
And when stuff clips with the floor, like you literally don't see because the camera's here. It's clipping with the floor underneath it. So like the ball's like covering it. Look at the reference of like golf balls. Because you can get like, they'll have like different, because you got like the branding logos on the golf. It's common that you take like a marker and do like little markings on a golf ball so that you know it's yours and stuff. Like that could be a cool way to explore. It's kind of like tattoos for a golf ball. Like if you're a golf ball, it's like you getting a tattoo.
Tattoos.
Well, that's it. Golf Town field trip.
yeah. So we'll all go to Golf Town and we'll.
So in beginning to build out levels for Par for the Dungeon, the one thing I was really trying to focus on was trying to tell more of a story for the dungeon. It's such a fun opportunity. You have this dungeoning character, these mini golf holes, and I think you get a unique opportunity to tell a bit of a story over the course of these levels where you can kind of showcase the adventurer moving towards the final dungeon or moving towards a castle. You just get this really interesting archetype of communicating this little narrative story through these holes. And so a lot of what I'm doing here is just trying to figure out where can art be placed, where can we tell this story, How does that support the level design? And then most importantly, how do we build a functional kit where there's very reusable pieces that as a 3D artist, we can swap these gray box kit pieces in and out with final art when we get an artist to make this look beautiful.
So from a concept art side of things, I started off by tackling the biggest unknown, at least in my head, was what does the environment look like in a dungeon-based golf game? Immediately I almost took dungeon to mean anything fantasy related or fantasy adjacent, just knowing that dungeon could be pretty limiting in terms of aesthetics later on down the line, especially if we're trying to make multiple levels over the course of however long the dev process is and even further past the main dev process for bonus content. So you can see off to the right there's some fun explorations on how we can combine golf and fantasy aesthetics. I also explored how to use like plinths that were golf tees to have like a nice supporting structure for some kind of kingly golf ball. There was a bunch of other concepts for levels, but in this example, it's a very ethereal kind of white, pristine castle, which is almost the exact opposite of a traditional dungeon. We don't have to kind of stay in the dark depths, and we can have anything we really want to. I think we're now starting to do like village ideas, deserts, other ruins, that sort of thing, and kind of keeping things still like in the aesthetic of fantasy, but not thinking we have to be like an enclosed space at all times.
Hey everyone. Throughout the week, there's always a lot of fun and fantastic work that gets made and goes unseen. Even being a small team, it's hard to capture everything each week. So here are some fun sketches and process work from this week. Thanks as always for watching. We appreciate all the kind comments people have been leaving. Catch you in the next one.